So you were in Chicago at the All-Star Weekend.
Yes.
Now, you've been covering this thing for 2 decades. It is big now.
Yes.
It doesn't feel like 15 years ago.
It's monstrous. It's become a corporate bonanza, and it really feels disconnected, or it has felt disconnected from the league and the game. It once upon a time, it really was a mid-season break where the NBA family got together.
Basketball peeps,
and you went to parties, and you weren't, you had invitations, and you went to see various people, and you had conversations, and it was fun, and it was cool, and it was relaxed, and then it just became, it's a little bit like the MIT Sloan conference, the analytics conference. When it first started, it was fun. It was people getting in a room and sharing like how they're trying to figure out finding edges, and then it became a job fair, and this has become like a corporate, to be seen, to sell your gear, your merchandise. And this year changed. This year was different because of Kobe. And mourning his loss, and everybody coming to grips with that, and everybody sharing that sorrow, made it feel like a family again.
It was about basketball and family.
It was a unifying element that everybody could relate to, and it just took that corporate temperature down a couple degrees and made everybody come back to, this is what we really love about the game. Even something, quite honestly, that had been lost over the course of this season. It's become all about load management and analytics and shooting threes and the despair and superstars changing teams and who's controlling the league. And this became old-fashioned. Let's see who's the best on the court, and let's win not because of the dividends that it's going to deliver, but because we want to prove that we're the best player in the game right now.
I was saying earlier that Michael Jordan had immense impact in titles, fans, and media and advertisers, Gatorade, McDonald's. I always felt LeBron's influence is really, he has clearly some ratings influence, but amongst players. If he has a political agenda that he cares about, they do. Mm-hmm. He cared about the schedule lightening up. Players did. The commissioner did. He takes this All-Star game seriously. The players do. What LeBron cares about influences the players. He told, like, Steph and KD, you need to own your platforms. Stop sharing this stuff. This is your name. I think LeBron's influence this weekend, I just sense when LeBron cares about something,
yes,
and he is yelling at guys in the huddle, it's LeBron. Yep. It's the global face of basketball for about a decade. Some of this is LeBron cares. I think LeBron last year heard the criticism that he was a little businessy. He was a little distracted.
Yeah.
It was a little bit about he didn't connect with a lot of young teammates. Totally get that. Didn't connect.
Sure.
LeBron this year before camp, Rick, was all in on basketball, was all in on his teammates. It feels different this year for LeBron.
It does. Well, certainly he has something to prove. He's come back in phenomenal shape. He's playing at an amazing level at his age. But it's so much of what LeBron has led players to has been about autonomy and things off the court.
Yes.
The independence of going and playing where you want to play and dictating who the coach is going to be and all these things.
On your terms.
Yes, that really I champion, and I think a lot of younger fans, sports fans champion, but old school traditional fans find that very offensive. It's believe in the team, believe in the organization, and they want the players to be as loyal to the organization as they are.
Okay, but this is where fans can be hypocritical. And I'm an older guy, right? First of all, the idea that you can't control the players. You don't think the Celtics listen to Brad Stevens? You don't think Utah listens to Quinn Snyder? This idea the guys are all out there playing YMCA behind the...
Sure.
No, they're not. LeBron... Listen, we all know that a college coach barks virtually every time down the floor.
Yes.
But when I watch the Lakers and the Clippers, Doc Rivers is coaching and the players are responding. A lot of this old school stuff, for whatever reasons, this idea that current NBA players are not willing to be coached, they're not willing to be coached poorly.
Yes, 100%. That is the distinction.
Miami is totally all in on Spoelstra this year.
This has always been the defining element, and players are hyper aware is doesn't matter whether you played in the league or not. Doesn't matter whether you're college or pro. Doesn't matter. Can you make that player better? Can you make him better on the floor? And can you get him someplace that he can't go? And that's why having won a championship is so vital, because it takes a certain amount of trust over the course of a year for a player to believe that when this coach says, if you do this, I can get you the promised land. Well, if you've done it, you have a little leash. If you don't, that player is measuring every single thing that you do. And the second you do something where he goes, bruh, I've been in this league 10 years. I know that doesn't work. You've lost them. Now, they'll still go along with it, but you've lost that 1, 2, 3% belief, commitment to what you want to do that is the difference between winning and losing. And that's just the reality, because in so many situations, you have coaches coming in, running teams that don't know the NBA game as well as the guys that they're coaching.
Yeah, listen, I got nothing against Doug Collins. I think his son at Northwestern is doing a great job. Michael didn't like to be coached by Doug Collins. Michael wanted to be coached by somebody else. The somebody else was Phil Jackson. They won a bunch of titles with him. Okay, so Magic Johnson didn't want to be coached by Mr. Westhead. Paul Westhead at one time. They had a problem. He wanted to be coached by somebody else. The somebody else was Pat Riley. They won a bunch of titles. The high-end players in this league, generally, LeBron's instincts on basketball are unbelievable. He's imperfect, but the reality is, and I'm the same way, so I can't be a hypocrite on this. I'm willing to be managed. I'm not willing at this point in my career to be managed poorly.
Right.
Okay, I know broadcasting. LeBron knows basketball. I love when my managers I respect say tweak, tweak, tweak. Mm-hmm. But by and large, when coaches have been tough on coaches, it's been the wrong coach.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing is one of the problems though is you're talking about LeBron, who has, again, he has the cachet. He has the experience. LeBron says, this is what I need to go win a championship. I'm listening to LeBron. I'm going to do what David Griffin did. I'll hawk my franchise in order to get what he needs because he knows what he needs. There are too many other players now in the league who don't have that gravity, don't have that ability, and they want the same say-so. I need this, get me this, and that's where you get into trouble.
Yeah, now there's a difference between pushing back on a coach and personnel. I don't always agree with LeBron's personnel. For instance, LeBron comes to a team and wants them to be old veterans.
Right.
I'm not becoming Cocoon, the movie. Like, right. I need somebody in their 20s. But I do think if you look at the history of the stars in the NBA that have pushed back on their coach, Magic and Michael and LeBron, they've been right. Now, Kyrie pushed back on their coach, but I think Kyrie is somebody that's been more difficult. His history is he's difficult on everybody.
Yes. Well, and he doesn't have the same cachet. I mean, this is always the measuring stick for every single player, is the greater they are, the more they can get away with, the more latitude they get. The second you're not great enough to win, and it's still about trying to win. So if you're a great player and you can win me games, I will put up with an awful lot. The second that you can't win me games and I still have to put up with a lot, now we have a problem. Now I'm ready to move on because I will put up with a lot. I will compromise my authority or my position or my say-so if you're going to get me to a championship. You're going to get me farther than I can by myself. But when the second you can't, I'm not giving that up.
You know, it's an interesting thing. You made me think of something with LeBron and his influence. LeBron doesn't believe in load management. So overwhelmingly the stars, I mean, listen, they all take days off.
And he load manages over the course of games. Like, he load manages in games.
But he plays.
But he shows up.
Who gives you 34 minutes.
He does now. This whole idea that he's never load managed is a crock.
Well, but
he's done it in various seasons at various points in his career.
Okay, but Kawhi's taken it to a new level, a weekly basis, no back-to-backs, but he doesn't have influence over players. People look at Kawhi and think he's quirky, odd, and great, but he doesn't have any influence. People don't wear what he wears. They don't act how he acts.
Yeah.
Like if LeBron was Kawhi and said load management, NBA would have a massive problem. Instead, we got one guy who does it a lot. The people that don't like the NBA use it as the whole league is doing load management. No, Harden plays every night. Giannis and Damian play every night, don't they?
Yeah, this is what I disagree with, making Kawhi the poster boy of load management.
Isn't he?
He's dealing with a legitimate physical issue.
For 4 years?
Yeah. Yeah. And he's working his way, and he's won a championship doing it this way. I honestly think he has something legitimately that he looks at and says, it's a little bit like what Derrick Rose went through. Derrick Rose showed up, played hurt, played with injuries, body fell apart. And then he had to figure out, okay, so how do I get to the finish line?
Right.
Because it's not about playing 82 games. It's about, I want to try to win a championship.
Right.
That's what Kawhi wants to do.
And do the Clippers believe that?
Yes, yes. And I believe that there's plenty of players around the league who believe that. The problem with load management is that it's now become a badge of honor. I get to take games off. I don't have to play back-to-backs because I'm so important to the franchise that when I do play, I'm going to make it up for you. Even if I don't.
How many guys do load management? I mean, really do it. I don't think it's as big. Let's just go stars. I don't care about B guys. Giannis doesn't.
But there's different ways. There's different ways to load manage.
What are different ways?
It's not just missing games. Not practicing.
Well, who cares about that?
It matters. Depending on where your team is and how old your star is, I need everybody on the floor practicing and playing.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.